Hey, Undisputed listeners. Before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com now. Let's start the show. Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. And of course, happy Thanksgiving. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. It's great to see you guys. How are we doing?
I'm doing great, Jenny. Thank you. Skip, this is our fourth Thanksgiving together, and it gets better and better every year. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. I know sometimes it doesn't seem like we have a lot to be thankful for, but if you woke up this morning, there's a lot to be thankful for.
Well said. Look, 2020 has been one of the worst years this planet has ever experienced. We're talking about a global pandemic.
Correct.
Yet there has been, for all of us, I think, one silver lining, one positive. We have been forced to stay at home, and we have gotten to spend more time with our families.
Yes.
So today, I am so thankful for my wife, Ernestine, and for our quote-unquote daughter, Hazel, our little 4-year-old Maltese. And I'm so thankful for you and for Jenny and our Fox family here at FS1. Azzy, our producer, all the good people we get to work with here. Bless you all. And I hate to admit this publicly because I hate to do this, but I actually love you.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
And thank you, all of you guys that tuned in today. We thank you for that.
Wow, we're talking about love? This
Yeah, look at it.
Right?
I still got a song.
You guys making me emotional here.
Yeah.
Don't try to soften me up on Thanksgiving.
Boy, I like it. This is a great start to the day. I'm also thankful. I want to say to my parents, they're in Minnesota. My dad just had knee surgery. I know he's watching. He's a big fan of the show, guys, and I'm thankful for both of you. But with all that out of the way, we do have a lot to talk about because Thanksgiving means football, and we've got a great main course for you coming up later today with Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys hosting Washington at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Dallas is looking to avenge a 25-3 loss earlier this season, while Alex Smith hopes to continue his amazing comeback season with his first back-to-back win since 2018. So, Shannon, who wins?
I went back and forth with this one, Skip, and I know both teams won last week, but I thought Dallas looked more impressive in their win than the Washington football team looked in their win. But when you're dealing with teams like this, these are division rivals. And they go back, this rivalry goes back, what? It's, 1960. So it goes back 60 years.
I wanted to say it went back to the 1800s because it feels like it did. It does.
Yeah. I was thinking, I'm like, hold on, the Cowboys didn't exist in 33 when obviously the football team that had another name existed. But Skip, so I'm throwing out records and what this means. What this means is that the winner of this ball game will be in first place in this horrible, horrible division. And no matter what you think how horrible it is, somebody from this division is going to get a home playoff game. I took Washington, Skip, because I'm looking at them over the last month. They're 2-2. They're first in pass defense. They're second in sacks, third in scoring D, third on third down, 10th against the run. And what they did the last game to Andy Dalton, they got after him. They sacked him 6 times, allowed 3 yards per carry. And the Cowboys are going to run the football because the difference between this week and last week, Minnesota could not pressure Andy Dalton, and he got real comfortable. So not only was he comfortable, they couldn't stop the run. The one thing I know about Jack Del Rio, the defensive coordinator of Washington, is that he'll shut off the run, and they'll put all their money. Basically, when you look at their high draft picks, it's in the defensive line. Allen, Payne, Chase Young, Kerrigan, Sweat, all those guys were first-round draft pick. 1, Chase Young, number 2. The lowest draft pick was Sweat on the first line, and he went in the 26th pick in the draft.
Yep.
So I like Washington to choke off the run, put pressure on Andy Dalton. I'm going to make Andy Dalton beat me. Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard, you're not going to play a role in this ball game. And as good as the Cowboys' defense have been, they've given up 24 passing touchdowns with 3 interceptions. So in other words, they've turned every quarterback that they faced into Patrick Mahomes. That's what they've done. That's what the defense have done. That's what the numbers indicate. So I'm going to take the Washington in a very close ball game. I'm going to say they win 2016.
2016,
Yeah.
says the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp. I hate to admit this. I disagree with nothing you just said, except for your conclusion. So allow me to frame today for you. In all my years, my 40-odd years of covering professional football, I have never, ever experienced anything like what is about to happen on, you can argue, the biggest stage this side, the Super Bowl, in this sport.
Right.
If my Cowboys win today against their arch rival, as you say, they're not only in first place, they're in the driver's seat to win a home playoff game, to win the right to play a home playoff game.
Right.
Because they would win this division and somebody has to win it. If they lose today, they will plunge into the cellar of the NFC least. And I saw this morning that the Football Power Index, if they lose, will give them only a 6% chance of winning the East. So think about it. It is going to be feast or famine, all in one afternoon on the Thanksgiving stage.
Well,
right?
if they win this game, they only got an 8% chance of making a play. That's how bad the division is.
Okay, I got it. But again, by strength of remaining schedule, Dallas is second easiest in the whole NFL. If they can beat Washington today, the team that beat them the worst of anybody they've played, the team that humiliated them, that ran them off the field at Washington exactly a month ago, October 25th, then they catapult from the doldrums, from me over here just in anguish, into a position of strength in the least, right?
Yes.
So today, for me, will expose or reveal who you are as a football team. Are you men or are you mice? Because this is a men or mice game. This is how strong is your backbone? How much do you care about winning the worst division by far, probably in the history of pro football?
Right.
Are you going to do what you did last Sunday at Minnesota, which was simply play the best game you played all year and win the most impressive game that anybody in the NFC East has won all year? That was the most impressive win to me. You could argue with that, but given that Minnesota had won 3 straight and it was at Minnesota, that was the most impressive. That showed you the capability of this team.
Well, consider, Skip, they've only beaten each other in the division, so nobody's really had an impressive win outside of the division.
Okay. So for me, I believe that you'll know from the first snap of this game. I believe Dallas will be ready to play this game. I think they will play a little harder than a team that, I agree with you, on paper, I think Washington's a little better. I think you've seen the Cowboys coming for 3 weeks. They were actually in position to beat Philly at Philly, but they had Ben DiNucci, a rookie at quarterback, and God bless him, I'm going to knock on wood for him. That might have been the first and last game he ever starts in this league.
Maybe ever plays.
Well, that's what I'm saying, okay? Then 2 weeks back, against the undefeated Steelers in Jerry World, I saw, wait a second, that guy?
Garrett Gilbert.
Garrett Gilbert? I saw him be in position to close the deal against the Steelers. And I thought he played well enough to close the deal, but they couldn't overcome the second team on the field, the referees.
There you go.
Okay, but did they not play well enough to win the game?
They did, and I think that gave them confidence playing with a third or fourth string quarterback.
Correct.
Said, hold on, that team is undefeated, and we took them down to the wire. So I think that gave them confidence even though they lost.
Okay, So now Andy Dalton is back at quarterback. He is not Dak Prescott, but he's not bad. Again, for those who have missed this point, he has made 3 Pro Bowls. You can say in his distant past, but he has.
Yes.
He has played in 4 playoff games in his life. He has not won one of them, but you can't tell me this stage today is too big for Andy Dalton because he knows how this feels, right? Mm-hmm. And for those who missed the point, in his first 5 years in the league, he averaged winning 10 games a year. So he knows what it feels like to go to Minnesota and win a pretty big game, right? Now it's about arch rivalry. Now it's about revenge. You got annihilated at Washington because you did not show up. That was the height of a locker room mutiny against the new defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan. Maybe even a mutiny against the other Mike, who's the head coach, Mike McCarthy. After that game, it was so bad that Jerry Jones cut every free agent that he had signed in the offseason. There were 8 of them, and he cut every one. He got rid of them, or he dismissed them.
All of them are gone at this point.
They're all gone because he sided with the new coordinator. He wanted either younger or cornerstone players who were buying into what Mike Nolan was trying to sell to stay. And right on schedule, they started to buy in. So the defense has solidified around the return of Leighton Vander Esch from a broken collarbone in Game 1 at Rams. Once he's come back, he can stuff the run.
Yes.
He will plug the hole. He will go helmet to helmet with anybody who comes into the hole. So all of a sudden around him, it started to gel. And all of a sudden, something started happening at Minnesota. There was one key player, one crucial player who did not play at Washington 1 month ago. He missed 1 game all year, and it was that game. And as you point out, Andy Dalton got sacked 6 times. He got knocked out of the game on a cheap shot by John Bostic. And what did you point out the following day? Not one of the offensive linemen ran to his aid, right? Nobody wanted to defend him. They went to see if he was still alive, right? But nobody wanted to fight over that because that team had quit in that game. That was in the 3rd quarter, okay? Who was the one player who wasn't even out on the field who could have rushed to his defense? His name is Zach Martin. At Minnesota, he moved from right guard to right tackle. You hate Pro Football Focus, but I'm going to use it right now. For any player in the offensive line who's played a minimum of 600 snaps this year, guess who Pro Football Focus ranks as the best offensive lineman in all of football?
It's hard to argue.
Hard to argue. It's Zach Martin. Jerry Jones, 2 days ago on his radio show, compared Zach Martin to Larry Allen. What do we know about Larry Allen?
I just think Larry Allen's the best offensive lineman ever play.
Ever play, said the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp.
He played right tackle, he played right guard, he played left guard, he could be left, he could have been, he was all pro in 3 different positions.
Okay, and he is also alongside you in the Hall of Fame. So Jerry is saying that Zach Martin is in the ballpark with Larry Allen. And you know what? That's a leap for me. That's probably too big a leap, but I think he's starting to earn that kind of respect around the league. So all of a sudden, when they moved him from right guard to right tackle, everything started to click, and Andy Dalton stayed clean at Minnesota. They don't rush the passer very well because they've lost too many of their stud rushers. But still, all of a sudden, voila, Ezekiel Elliott returned to the living. He had his first 100-yard game in what seems like 10 years, but it was the first this year, right?
It's been what? He didn't have a whole bunch of the last half of last year.
He did not. It was because they were trying to run behind the new road grader who went from right guard to right tackle. That allowed Connor McGovern, who was a 3rd-round pick 2 years ago, to go to right guard. Joe Looney's back at center, and he's a veteran. He's well-traveled, started with San Francisco, but he was a 4th-round pick. He's pretty good at center. He knows how to play center. Connor Williams, I've never been the biggest fan, but at least he was a 2nd-round pick, and he's been okay at left guard.
Because the thing is, Skip, what they wanted to do was get their 5 best offensive linemen on the field. Well, Connor McGovern is one of their better offensive linemen, but he plays the position Zach Martin plays.
Thank you.
So I can't get him on the field.
Can't get him on the field.
So I got to bump Zach out, put you in.
And again, I'm not the biggest fan of Cam Irving, but he did start 8 games for your Kansas City Chiefs 1 year ago as they were rolling toward the Super Bowl championship. He did not start the Super Bowl. He'd lost his job by then, but he's decent, and he's been, I'm going to give him decent at left tackle, solidifying, taking 2 undrafted free agents out of the lineup at right and left tackle, right?
You get a better indication of how good he is. Chase Young will be chomping at the bit. It's his first big-time national televised game. Everybody's watching. He wants to show why the Washington football team selected him with the number 2 overall pick.
Okay.
Cam Irvin's going to have his hands full today, Skip.
I would agree. But yet you got a fighting chance because you got the right people in the right places, and they're starting to gain some confidence as a unit. Listen, Washington is 7th in this league in points allowed. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But as you look at all that talent on paper that I would give a slight edge to Washington over Dallas, I think they've underachieved all year. I don't think they've lived up to all those high first-round picks that just, it's a cavalcade throughout their defense.
I think a lot of that has to do with the offensive side of the football.
Okay.
Because it's hard, Skip, when you're that deficient on that side of the football. They started with Haskins, and he didn't get off to the great start, but he did come back and beat Philly from down 17-0. But they had Haskins start the next game, and they had Allen, and then, Alex Smith is getting in there. So I think if they can get something going offensively, you can't leave your defense on the field for the amount of snaps. I don't care how good they are, they'll eventually wear down. This is a game about strength versus strength because your offensive line, Dallas, is going to have to protect Andy Dalton.
Well,
and they know they got to get, they're somehow trying to get, they don't want to hurt Andy Dalton, but if they can get to Garrett Gilbert, if they can get Ben DiNucci in the game, they greatly increases their chance of winning.
Yeah, no, I agree. My over-under on sacks today for Andy Dalton is 3. 3 or fewer, Dallas wins. 4 or more, Dallas is going to be in big trouble.
Well, you better hope Zeke and Tony Pollard better have a game like they had last week.
Okay. Thunder and lightning. We saw a little lightning from Tony Pollard, and I expect them to go heavy Zeke, but with a healthy dose of Tony Pollard because he can get loose. He's got a burst, and up against Zeke, who seems to be running in slow motion occasionally, it looks even quicker than it probably is on the field. But he got loose at Minnesota for a 42-yard touchdown. We just haven't seen that. We don't get that from Zeke. So I like the 1-2 punch that's starting to emerge. I also, you know how much I love C.D. Lamb. He made what I thought was the NFL catch of the year last week at Minnesota. You argued that Thielen's was better. I still don't think it was. But the point is, C.D. Lamb is emerging as a force on this offense. They're starting to use him more on jet sweeps, any kind of little reverse action, and he returns punts. And Jerry all but predicted the other day that at some point he's going to get loose on a punt return, and I do agree with that. We're going to talk about him later because Jerry went all the way to compare him to Deion Sanders' burst with the punt, and we can't go there, but we'll get into that later. I'm just telling you, I believe he will be a difference maker today because they have him in the slot. And if you try to defend him with a single slot defender, I don't think Washington can defend that. I think he's starting to get more and more comfortable. Andy Dalton's starting to establish a wavelength with him. So I believe he could be a difference maker against this defense on shorter passes that will lead to longer passes. All right? So in the end, I'm hoping Mike McCarthy showed one piece of tape over and over and over again to the defense. And it was a run by a rookie named Antonio Gibson at Washington on October 25th that made it 9-0. Do you remember this run? Could we please see a run by Antonio? This is it. Did anybody try to tackle him? Did anybody do anything but wave at Antonio Gibson, including Trevon Diggs, who's hurt right now, but nobody tried to tackle him. Nobody tried to tackle him. Xavier Woods did not try to tackle him. I'm sorry. That was as humiliating a moment for me as I have suffered this whole football season as a lifelong Cowboy fan.
Well, I think that also, Skip, Washington, your secondary isn't very good. And Kurt, First Cousins, had a day. He was 22 of 30, 314 and 3 touchdowns. He had 2 drops. So really, he should have been 26 of 30. Your back end can be had. Now, the front 4, the front 7 is playing a lot better. You look at D-Law, he's starting to turn it up. Alden Smith, he's consistent with his pressure. They got some guys, Neville Gallimore, they got some guys
Randy
inside.
Gregory.
Yes, they got some guys.
Dorrance Armstrong that Jerry keeps raving about.
Right. But your back end, if Washington can hold up, there are plays to be made, a la Tampa. If that front 7 don't get there, the back end is vulnerable. Same thing with your Cowboys. You're vulnerable on the back end. Nobody fears your secondary, Skip. There's no Jalen Ramsey. There's no Pat Peterson. There's no Stephon Gilmore back there where you're like, man, I don't want any of that. They're not there. Washington defensive line against this is going to win the game, Skip. This is not about Washington's offense. Yeah, you're going to have to move the ball. But if Washington football team cannot generate consistent pressure on Andy Dalton, you can't beat the Cowboys.
Okay. So what have I seen from Washington if I look at the scope of their season so far? They've also obviously won 3 games.
Yep.
And what were they? They were down going to the fourth quarter and still 17-14 against Philly in the opener, and they came back and won the game 27-17. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give you that one. The Dallas on October 25th was highly impressive because that was their tour de force game, but it was against a Cowboy team that did not show up.
Right.
And then against Cincinnati, until they knocked Joe Burrow out of the game,
right,
they were down 9-7.
Right.
Okay, so they came back and won 20-9, and Alex Smith was just okay.
Right.
He's been below average in QBR in the 4 games he's played in. I think he's got a 43 overall average, so he's just been okay, just kind of hit and mostly miss. He's 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Right.
Okay, so how have they lived up to the 7th best defense in pro football? They haven't yet.
Right. Well, but Skip, if they didn't have the 7th best defense in football, they would be over. They would be, they would be one of these teams like Jacksonville, or they'd be like the Jets, only won 1 game or won no games. That just lets you know how good their defense is when you look at his QBR, look at Haskins' QBR. Kyle Allen, I don't even know if he had played enough to register a QBR.
Yep.
Their quarterback play hasn't been good this year. I mean, I love McLaurin. I think they can run the ball decent. They're not great running team. They're not the Tennessee
He's been
Titans.
limited in practice on an ankle, but still, he is a weapon.
Yes. He can catch it, and he can run it. So, look, when these 2 teams get together, there are certain teams that one team might be 10-1, the other team might be 5-6. It doesn't matter. I know you don't like me. I know I don't like you. So whatever the records are, we're going to throw them out the window. We're going to strap it up, and we're going to see.
That is correct. And I believe my team's backbone will show through today.
I ain't got no backbone.
Yeah.
Turkey bone.
Yep.
Wishbone get broken.
Break it? Yep. You better hope so, or you're going to be up against it tomorrow because I'm going to be out of my mind.
You're going to be out of your mind because you're going to be upset. Skip, we've gone through this the last 3 Thanksgivings. The last 3 Thanksgivings, you come here on Friday, you upset. After Buffalo did a number on you guys, saying the Chargers did a number on you guys, we go through this every year. Every year we go through this.
Just a last quick stat. I don't know how, but Ezekiel Elliott on Thanksgiving Day has played 3 games and averaged 118 yards per game in those 3. Maybe it's one of those kind of maybe it's one of these games.
What about what is his win-loss average? That's what I need to know.
All I know is Tom Brady always says the season doesn't start until Thanksgiving. Well, mine is going to start today.
Because,
Thank you.
On my fat old club, Shay, me and you, Jenny, the day for Thanksgiving, only got 2 dishes, Dubs and L's.
Really?
Yeah, which one you ordering, Skip?
We're not coming.
Oh, you coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to eat before the game, and then we're going to go straight home and protect ourselves from COVID.
That's okay. You know what? I was able to adapt. I do takeout L's now.
Oh,
Yeah. Ain't no in route. Ain't no in dining. There's no out dining.
Really?
I do takeout L's.
Really?
Yeah, I get that thing to you.
Well, maybe you can give one to Washington as they board their flight.
No,
You're pretty busy today, Shannon. Really
Yeah,
busy.
been cooking all night,
Takeout
Jenny.
orders all day. I know. I don't know how you do it. You manage so much around here.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
No mercy.
Tom Brady was ranked as the league's 12th best quarterback entering Week 12 by NFL 4ff5aa742a9811eb8c585bf08f43800a. Brady is coming off a very non-Brady-like game against the Rams Monday night, but his 25 touchdowns are still more than he threw for all of last season with the Patriots. So take that into account here. Shannon, where would you rank him among current quarterbacks?
That's still too high. Jenny mentioned that his 25 touchdowns more than he threw all last year, but she forgot that part. Them 9 interceptions is also more than he threw all of last year. So we got to make sure we get all the stuff in there, Skip Bayless. Now, this is what Tom Brady ranks this year. 25th in completion percentage, 25th in yards per attempt. He ranks 5th in INTs. He's 15th in QBR. It used to be, when I turned into the dictionary, more with less, there was a picture of Tom Brady. Now nobody does less with more. Skip Bayless told me last year, and everybody else hopped on this train also. Tom Brady doesn't have any talent, a broken down Julian Edelman. He has a quarterback that's now a wide receiver in Jacoby Myers, N'Keal Harry. Look at the tight ends, Ben Watson. Now what's the excuse, Skip Bayless? He has 2 Pro Bowl receivers. He has Antonio Brown, who has more consecutive 100-catch seasons than any man in the history of the NFL. That's what he has. He also had Cameron Brate, a young and up-and-coming promising tight end. And he had the GOAT tight end, a guy that's on the all-century team. Why these numbers looking like this? There's no excuse for this. So they got him at 12th. Now, I'm going to disagree. I don't believe Lamar Jackson should be in front of Tom Brady. But I also don't believe Tom Brady should be in front of Jared Goff or Phillip Rivers. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Jared Goff just beat him, and his team is 7-3 and second in the NFC. Phillip Rivers is 7th in completion percentage, 13th in yards per attempt. He's first in his division with 7-3. So those guys should be in front of Tom Brady. Now, I've been trying to tell you this all year long, and somebody keep coming up with all these stats about, oh, he's right there with Mahomes. I got absolutely no problem with the top 5. I mean, obviously, Mahomes, Rodgers, Wilson, Deshaun, and Josh Allen. Kyler, Tannehill, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert. Has Brady consistently played better than any of those guys? No. But here's something that Skip Bayless, he loves to bring up. Big-time throws. Pro Football Focus say Tom Brady has more big-time throws. But Pro Football Reference, who's another reputable, says nobody has more bad throws. Tom Brady has 83 bad throws. Did you know that's 9 more than what the guy that you call, oh, bounce it to him, oh, throw it to him, Wentz,
Give it to him.
Oh, give it to him, Wentz. W-I-S. I Wentz every time he throws the ball.
Yep,
Your guy has more bad throws than him. And do I need the game against, who did play, Jenny? New Orleans, that was it. Called a timeout. The kick a field goal. That should be beneath Tom Brady. That should be beneath them, Skip. And I want you to see this thing. This old blooper reel. Yeah, we got a blooper reel. The guy that you said are playing great should be the MVP. Hey, Jim, drop that track for me right quick. I need the people at home because they don't get the opportunity to see this old blooper reel. We got that.
Obviously,
what is this, Skip?
Yeah.
What is that? What is it? Skip, what is this? Skip?
He's trying to remind everybody that LeBron has won 4 championships and lost 6.
Okay, what about you're not allowed to throw past the ball forward. It gets deflected, and you can't have 2 forward passes.
Oh, did he complete it?
What was this?
Yeah, completed it. He had barely 2 fingers on the football, and he completed it to Mike Evans. That's unbelievable, though. That was GOAT.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
It is illegal to attempt 2 forward pass. You can do a lateral and a forward pass, but you can't do 2 forward pass. So I have absolutely no problem. Actually, I do have a problem because Tom Brady should be lower. Tom Brady should be 13th, 14th at the best. But to make a long story short, to put a nice little bow on this, he's slightly above average right now.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp continues to tell me that, Tampa's going to make the playoffs. How can they make the playoffs with an average or below average quarterback?
Either Andy Dalton has a chance to make the playoffs, so does Walker to and Wentz, so does Alex Smith, so does Daniel Jones. Is that saying anything?
Okay, but let's exclude the NFC least. Okay. Then who else?
But here's the thing. Who are those guys that he's ranked behind that you would say Tom Brady is playing better than Lamar Jackson? Of the list, Mahomes, Rodgers, Wilson, Deshaun, Josh Allen, Kyler, Tannehill, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Which one of those guys has he consistently outplayed this season?
Okay, it's my turn.
It's
Thank
your
you
turn.
very much. When it comes to Tom Brady, about everything that comes out of your mouth is nothing but tomfoolery. It is straight Brady hate. I have never experienced anything quite like this phenomenon of Brady hate. I don't know what it is. He's the GOAT, runaway GOAT.
This year?
In his life, obviously. He's already proven that.
No.
At 43, he's having an extraordinary year because you sweep under your little rug over there all kinds of greatness that we've seen from Tom Brady already this year. So let's look at the good, okay? You try to single out the bad, and obviously he's had back-to-back really tough games against the team that's allowed the least yards in all of pro football, the Rams, and the team that's allowed the third fewest
You
yards,
just said
the
he
New
the
Orleans
GOAT.
Saints.
You just said he the GOAT, though.
All right, look at these goatish performances. So let's look at 6 of his 7 wins, shall we? Let's look at Denver, where your man Tua just lost his job. At Denver, he just got annihilated by the Broncos, right?
He beat Drew Lock.
Huh?
He beat Drew Lock.
Okay, well, okay, but he goes in there. He had to beat a Denver defense that can be pretty tough, right? Isn't the head coach a defensive, like, mastermind?
Yes,
he is. Okay, so Brady goes in there and throws for 297 with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. And then the Chargers are ahead 24-7 in the second quarter. And in the second half, Brady goes 15 of 17 for 263, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. And for the game, he had 5 touchdowns to 1 interception.
Big sense, though.
Okay, but did he not come back all the way from 24-7 down? And then the Aaron Rodgers game, do I even have to bring this up? It was just a masterpiece from Brady with 2 more touchdowns, no interceptions, and a QBR of 97 in that game. And then at Las Vegas, it was a virtuoso by Brady, 369, 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, and a QBR of 89. And then here we go at Giants. Again, it was a close game, and you thought they should have lost the game. But he was 2 more touchdowns and no interceptions and a QBR of 86. And then at Carolina in their bounce-back game after New Orleans, 341, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, QBR of 92. I just gave you 6 games of the 7 that they've won in which in 5 of those games, his average QBR is 90. But guess what he has in those 6 games? 19 touchdowns to 1 interception. Is that good? That's 6 wins, 19 touchdowns, 1 interception. Is that below average to you? It's goatish.
But see what you did. I love the way you did that, though. You took what he did in the second half against the Chargers. Did they not play the first half? You took what he did in the second half against the Giants. Did they not play the first half?
I didn't take the second half.
But here's the thing. You keep saying I'm just trying to figure out. If you're 25th in completion percentage, 25th in yards per attempt, 5th most interceptions in the league, and 15th in QBR, how do you get top 5? How do you get top 10 with that?
Well, let's go back to my favorite website, Pro Football Focus. Just 1 week ago, after the game at Carolina, the bounce-back game, Pro Football Focus ranked his overall performance, the grade it gave Tom Brady for his total year, the body of work.
Right.
Number 2 in the NFL, and ranked your man Patrick Mahomes number 4. That was just 1 week ago.
Let that sink in.
So, yeah, please let it sink in because I want people to remember that just a week ago, he was graded number 2. Let's not be prisoner of the moment of what happened against the Rams, who have one of the best, if not the best, pass rushes in pro football, right?
So let us think in for just a second, people at home. At the time of this ranking, Patrick Mahomes was 25 touchdowns to 1 interception and had lost 1 game. And the Pro Football Focus said Tom Brady was playing better.
Yeah.
Now,
Because why? I got it right here. Patrick Mahomes, a little blurb on him. Why is he ranked 4th? It has been an inconsistent season for Patrick Mahomes. It took him against a COVID-racked Raiders defense the other night on Sunday Night Football. It took him to the buzzer to overcome them. They were down 3 starters. They had 10 players miss all of practice with COVID issues. What are you talking about? You were trying to drive a bandwagon that has a wheel that's come off.
Yeah, let this sink in. They're saying Patrick Mahomes had an inconsistent season when he's #1 in QBR, even at the time of this of this thing. He's 25 touchdowns to 1 interception. They're saying he's inconsistent. Yet Brady at the time of this had 6 interceptions, had a QBR that was 15.
Who played better at Las Vegas, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes?
But they got the same result.
Oh, barely.
But let me ask you a question.
Brady won 45-20. It was a masterpiece.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Tell me the game this season or in Patrick Mahomes' career that he's had that was worse than what Brady had that night against the Saints. Just tell me the game this year.
And guess what Brady's defense was doing that night? Guess what it was doing?
His defense.
It was allowing 420 yards to Drew Brees and company, and then it allowed 413 to Jared Goff.
You see what you did?
How are you going to overcome that at home?
Hold on.
Seriously, gave up 38 points to the Saints. Their first 6 possessions, they just breezed down the field, as in Drew Brees down the field.
But see, when Derek Carr beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, you didn't mention anything about the defense. You made it about Mahomes. You see what you do when Mahomes lose, he didn't play. He is Mahomes.
I know, but he's transcended. He's by far the best player in football. You tell me.
You told me he's the GOAT.
Oh, well, I didn't tell you. Everybody told you he's the GOAT.
If he's the GOAT, you can't just score 3 points against New Orleans. If you're the GOAT, you can't lose to Jared Goff and then walk. The GOATs can walk off the field. GOATs hold their head high. I'm the man. You got me today, but I'm still the man. What do he do every time he get his butt kicked? Walk off the field sulking. Because, see, the thing is with him, look, I didn't even go there, Skip Bayless.
Well, time out. What did Andy Reid say yesterday? That the greatest thing that ever happened to Patrick Mahomes in his professional career was after the AFC Championship game at Kansas City, in which that guy converted 3 straight 3rd and 10s in overtime to win the game and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, didn't get to touch the ball. He went out of his way to go over to the Kansas City locker room to pull the kid aside and put an arm around him and say, "You're doing it the right way and you're made of the right stuff." And Andy Reid said that was the best thing anybody could have ever done for Patrick Mahomes.
Think about when he did this. Patrick Mahomes had just had arguably the second greatest statistical season in NFL history. In his first year starting, he was 50 touchdowns, 5,097 yards. So why to go out on a limb and take somebody under your wing, Tom Brady? Nah, don't do that, bro. Because he saw Patrick Mahomes as being the equivalent of him. The problem that he has is if he doesn't view you as an equal.
Okay.
He doesn't view Nick Foles. He doesn't view Jerry Goff. He doesn't view Eli.
They're not.
But they kicked his butt. So what did that say about him?
That Nick Foles kicked his butt because Bill Belichick's defense allowed the backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles to hang 41 on him in a Super Bowl? Are you kidding me? And you continue to give Belichick a pass for that.
Can I ask you a question?
That is the most disgraceful performance by any single unit in the history of the Super Bowl. Okay.
But when you talk about what Tom Brady completed those 3 third downs, with Patrick Mahomes on the field.
I just said he kept him off. That's how he won the game.
So that was the defense.
He had to overcome.
So that was the defense fault, right? That was the defense fault.
Well, what are you talking about?
No, you said
that was his fault because he did it.
Okay, so whose fault?
Who converts 3 straight 3rd and 10s? So it's impossible.
So whose fault was it those interceptions on Monday night? Whose fault was it those interceptions that he threw against New Orleans?
I'm glad you brought that up. What have we seen from Tom Brady? Well, we saw him through the first 8 games of this year. We saw him lead the whole league in what are called big-time throws, 20-plus yard completions. Am I right? And even now, would you believe that he's over 1,000 yards ahead in air distance of any other quarterback? And ironically, it's your guy, give it to him, Wentz, is second on that list, bombs away Wentz, because they're just like, I don't know what to do. I think I'll just throw it as far as I can.
Right.
Tom Brady is trying, at age 43, to indoctrinate himself into an offense that is foreign to him and maybe not made for him at all, because he was more of a pick-you-to-pieces quarterback in New England. That's how he became the GOAT. That's how he won 6 of 9 Super Bowls and should have won 8 of 9 Super Bowls, because he threw the occasional bomb, but mostly he picked you apart, right? So all the way to now, they are 7-4. He, by 1,000 yards, leads the whole National Football League in air distance, okay? Yeah. How far is he throwing the ball? You tried to dismiss him as a dink and dunker early this year. You tried to tell me he's a noodle arm, that he's washed up, that he's lost velocity. I told you coming into this year, he's lost no velocity. Have you seen him underthrow any of those deep balls? No, they're overthrown.
Skip.
Okay?
If I'm a baseball player and I lead the MLB in pop-ups, if they don't lead the yard, what have I done? He's throwing these great script. He's leading the air distance, but he's not completing anything.
Okay. But he did for 8 games. He completed more than anybody did. More than anybody.
He
was leading the league through 8 games, and then what happened?
What happened?
What happened? He said, I love Antonio. I got to have Antonio. Let's bring him in. Let's risk it. No risk it, no biscuit. He brings in the biggest risk he could bring in on and off the field, Antonio Brown. Huge personality, huge amount of baggage, obviously. But Tom said, no, I love this guy. He's going to be our difference maker, but we're going to have to pay me now or pay me later. He's paying now for what could come back in big returns, big dividends near the Super Bowl if they can make the playoffs, because it's slowly but surely going to work with Antonio Brown.
And if it doesn't?
Okay, but what's just happened right now? Well, he's in a terrible slump throwing deep balls because he's trying to force Antonio into the equation.
Those don't get in slumps.
Too much of a good thing.
Skip. You can't tell me, you can't say, well, hey, Shannon, Skip, what do you want me to bring you? Well, bring me this, this, and this. I bring you back and you get sick. Man, why you bring me this? You asked for it. He asked for Antonio Brown. Okay. So don't give me this notion about now it's Antonio Brown's fault that he can't throw a deep ball.
Okay, when he joined them, they were 6-2, and most people were saying that's the best team in pro football. And you're going to try to throw Antonio Brown into that dynamite mix?
Who asked
it's
for
going
it?
To explode on you.
Who asked for it?
He did. I told you why. Because he wants to go win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
He wants to stick it up, you know what's back in.
But Coach Belichick said, I told y'all. I told y'all that's why that's why I was willing to let him go. Remember?
Yeah.
That's what you told me about the Clippers not trying to trade.
Help me out. Do you see diminished arm strength in Tom Brady? Do you see it?
I see the same guy. As a matter of fact, he was slightly better in completion percentage because he was 27th last year.
I actually think his arm's a little stronger than it was in New England.
I will give you this, Skip. I will concede this. Even with that great talent, he's got so much more talent offensively. I'll concur with that. He's up 2 places. Last year he was 27th in completion percentage. This year he's 25th. Last year he was 27th in yards per attempt. This year he's 25th. And in QBR he's 15th. Last year he was 19th. So he's slightly better with all that talent. Let that sink in for just a second. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, A.B., Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, the running back that's 5th in the league in rushing.
Yep.
And those are Tom Brady's numbers.
Okay.
That's your guy. And and people had this guy ranked ahead of my homeboy.
And you're the one who's not gutsy enough to say they're going to miss the playoffs because you're still afraid of the GOAT. You know it, and I know it.
Everybody made the playoffs, did it?
He's having a phenomenal year.
And remember, Skip, they had this policy now. They might take 8 teams to the playoffs for the COVID policy. So no, it used to be you play your way in. Now they do it like hockey and basketball. Hell, everybody make the playoffs. We don't do that here.
No, we're not doing that around here?
No.
All right, you're just
Shannon,
fired up about
there's one man
today.
you don't bet against, and you're betting against him as usual. It's 4 straight years you've been wrong.
Watch my homeboy. My homeboy got something for him on Sunday.
Well, it is Thanksgiving, and that means so much football to look forward to today, including, of course, the Cowboys. The 3-7 Cowboys host 3-7 Washington at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox, and the winner will move into first place in the NFC East. Well, at least temporarily, guys, as Philadelphia and New York also have 3 wins entering Week 12 and could both find themselves atop the division by the end of the weekend. So, Shannon, who wins the NFC East?
Lord have mercy. Skip, you know I'm a big Eagles guy. But over the last 3 weeks, the head coach doesn't believe in the quarterback. So how the hell can I believe in him? You coach them up every day. You see them every day in practice, in the games, in meetings, and you don't believe in it. You pause every time they ask you a question about his play. They ask you about, maybe going in a different direction. You pause. You got to think about it. Now, I got to make sure I'm saying, little do you know, in the pause is your answer. So when you pause about everything, Skip, they're like, well, damn, that should have been an automatic. No, we're not going in a different direction. Carson Wentz, our quarterback, blah, blah, blah. So with that being said, as much as I like the Eagles, and I picked the Eagles to win this division, nope. Washington. I like Washington's defense. I just don't think Alex Smith, with that, he's limited on what he can do with that injury. It's a great story. It's a great comeback story, and he's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. Nobody else is even in the running. I thought Big Ben had an opportunity to win that award because he's coming back from an injury also. But being away 2 years, Alex Smith is going to win that award. So now we get down to the Cowboys and we get down to the Giants. I like the Giants because I think their defense is playing better overall than anybody else's defense in the division. And I love Daniel Jones, but he turns the ball over. But the last 2 games, he's played clean games. And, Skip, if you look at them, they've lost 4 games by 4 points. That means that's a young team that's trying to find ways to learning how to win, and they're learning how to win on the run. And so with that being said, I believe as this season progresses, we got 6 games left. They'll get better. They'll win some of these close games. So I'm going to say the last game of the season will probably be for the division. And the Cowboys travel to New York. And that's going to be for the division. And I'm going to believe the Giants will pull it out. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
So you're going to say that old 8-8 Jason Garrett, maybe with like 6 wins, is going to get his revenge on Jerry for firing him.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to remind you, I've brought up the Giants several times in the near past on the show, and you have dismissed them by using the word they're terrible.
They are.
That's what you said.
They are.
Terrible, terrible, terrible. And now you're picking them to win the NFC East.
Yeah, but they're terrible, but I believe the Cowboys are terrible-er, the Eagles are terrible-er, and the Washington football team might be the terrible-ist. So.
Okay. I believe the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this division. And I'm not proud of that because you can't be proud of winning what's probably the worst division in the history of professional football.
Probably it is.
Okay. But I will take it because it's all I have left. And I'm starting to feel like my team has become a football team again. And I think it will end up being a worthy winner of the division. It's going to play a home game against a better team.
Skip, how you have 6 wins in 16 and you talking about it's going to be worthy?
It's because they will have come back together, come from hell and back, because hell was at Washington 26-3 1 month ago to win this division. And the reason they're going to win it is because their closing schedule on just opponents' won-loss records is second easiest in the whole National Football League.
Yeah.
Let's look at your Giants. Their closing schedule is now 22nd. Now, you could argue toughest schedule, right? Or easiest schedule, however you want to look at it. The Eagles, 28th, quote-unquote, easiest schedule, right? And we get to Washington, their opponent today, they have the 17th easiest, hardest schedule left on opponents' one-loss records. Yeah. Okay, so second versus Giants, you like 22nd versus Eagles 28th.
What?
And Washington 17th.
You mentioned the Eagles. They got Seattle, Green Bay, New Orleans, Arizona.
At Green Bay, at Arizona, at Dallas, and then Washington.
So, and your Cowboys caught a break because the Ravens were supposed to be playing today on a Thursday and then play the following Thursday. But they're going to play Sunday and play Thursday.
They have a short week because we have Washington. And then we get a whole week, right? We get 1 week to get ready for a Thursday night game at Baltimore. Will we win that game? Probably not. But
if you can't win the game after that, because, Skip, you know how physical the Ravens and the Steelers play. There's no love lost in that division. And that's a must-win game for the Ravens because I don't believe they can catch the Steelers for the division. They're on the outside looking in for the playoffs.
I would agree.
Forget the division. You better think about what you need to win this game for your playoff lives.
Right. This is do or die as far as the playoffs
absolutely.
Go. I agree. So then the Cowboys then get they get 10 days off to get ready for a game at Cincinnati. No Joe Burrow, obviously. They elevated what's his name, Brandon Allen from the practice squad. Okay.
Y'all getting all the breaks.
Okay, we should be able to win that game. Then we got San Francisco at home. Who knows whether
Debo back, most of the be back then. Y'all done. Y'all cooked.
Okay, quarterback will be who?
Don't worry about it.
Okay?
Don't even worry about it.
Not sure about that. Then the point of this is we've got Washington today at home, and then we got the Eagles at home. And then of our 3 division games remaining, we go to the Giants. And to your point, I agree with you. That could be for all the quote-unquote marbles. Although when these marbles, maybe it's just one marble.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
But you know what, Skip? I think the Eagles going to get y'all. Eagles, y'all going to lose the last 2 and lose the division. That's what y'all always do.
You better hope so.
That's what y'all always do.
I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing my team. You saw it starting to rise at Philly. You saw it rise against Pittsburgh, rise up against Minnesota up there.
Last year, too.
Yep. This is different.
Y'all had the division. And you remember, think about it. Y'all had like 3 straight years. Skip, all you had to do was win the last game and you lost with Tony Romo. You remember those? Go to Philly, you lose, Giants, you lose. Every year you had that opportunity.
You know, it's possible my team's going to win enough games to get to like 7 and 8 before the Giants game, and it'll be over.
Bet a couple of cases you don't get to 7 and 8.
No, I'm not going to do it. I won't bet anything on this division in this.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. But I will say this. I give you the Giants. I tweeted probably a month ago, don't be surprised if the Giants win this division, because you could see them coming because they keep playing close games. Where did that start? It started at Dallas on that dreary day
they should have won that one.
that Dak got hurt.
Yeah.
New York goes up with Dak still healthy. They're up 17-3 in the second quarter. Dak comes back, then Dak's gone. Andy Dalton comes in, gets off to a rocky start. They're trailing. And what does he do at the end of the game? He throws, to me, the back-to-back 2 best passes anybody's thrown all year for the Dallas Cowboys. I want to remind you of just how good these passes were. This is against the team that you say will win this division. But these are rockets. These are Andy Dalton. He's the real
better.
AD.
They playing better now. We ain't got it.
Here we go.
Good.
No, we ain't got it.
We ain't got it. We ain't got it.
Everybody.
We ain't got it.
It's on its way. Just be patient. It's Thanksgiving. You have to wait.
You got it.
For dessert.
We ain't got
Here's
it.
Dessert. Look at this. It's a rollout. On the dead run, he throws a rocket. Whew. And then he goes right back to Michael Gallup with another one that is exactly where Michael Gallup only can catch this ball, and sets up the walk-off field goal. How good is that? That's what Andy Dalton is capable of doing. Again, he's not Dak, but he's not bad.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to win this division, because he's going to be a little better than Daniel Jones. He's going to be a lot better than Wentz. And today he will be a little better than your comeback player of the year, Alex Smith.
But Daniel Jones got legs. He used them legs. He might grow for about 70, run a 70-yard touchdown on y'all. He won't fall this time like he did against the Eagles.
I'm sorry, Andy Dalton is now the best quarterback in this division. You know it, and I know it. That's why I'm in the proverbial catbird seat.
No, you're
Am
not.
I right?
Actually, no. You're not in the proverbial catbird seat. But your day is coming.
Okay?
You're all gloating now.
Who's better than Andy Dalton? You already told me about Daniel Jones. It's like, yikes. When is he going to turn the ball
You know,
over?
even though my guy's struggling right now, I'll still take Wentz.
You'll take Wentz?
Yep.
He is 5 clear of any other player in turnovers.
But
5 clear.
But I know who's gaining on him in interceptions.
Who?
I know who's coming on him fast on the outside.
Is that all you got?
Coming fast on the outside.
This topic is not about him. It's not about the
I ain't
goal.
call no name.
It's about the least.
I didn't call no name.
Yeah.
Like I said, we just need Dougie P to understand this isn't 2017. You don't run the football like that. You don't have healthy Alshon. You don't have those guys. Zach Ertz isn't there.
I think Alshon is now healthy, but he seems to be no factor.
I saw Alshon. That's a shell of Alshon. That guy got 17 jerseys on, got Jeffrey on the back.
Yep.
But that ain't Alshon. The offensive line is, guess what? Out again. Lane Johnson's out again. Kelsey was in and out of the line up the center with an elbow. They're not the same, so you can't call plays the same.
In the end, my team is in the perfect position to run away with this division. And you are going to have to bear the brunt of it.
You see how you do? You see what you just did? Instead of just saying, yeah, we going to probably win this division, now you go all the way talking about we about to run away with the division.
We got a shot. Well, it's,
Run to what, 6 wins?
we got a break with the schedule. set up.
Okay.
All we got to
That's
do
all right.
is win today.
This is gonna make
if we
this-
don't win today, all bets are off.
No, ain't
I
no
won't
bets
say
on.
a word.
No, whatever.
Yeah.
You had to gave up on it. You told me you was done.
Well, I thought the whole division was done at certain points. I kept saying the Eagles they wouldn't put us out of our misery, right?
Yeah.
They kept going on the road and losing games that I'd say, how did they lose
I don't
that
want them to
game?
put you out your misery.
Yeah.
Because then you ain't no. I need you to go along. I want you to have a long, painful.
You just gave up on the Eagles.
The
But
NFC
I don't give up
I
on
didn't
the
give up
teams.
on y'all not winning the division.
Huh.
I didn't do that.
Okay.
That's what I need.
Stick with your pick, man. I stuck with mine.
Oh,
He's thinking about it.
yeah.
He's thinking about it over there. The NFC East, it just always gives us so much to talk about on this show. No mercy. With Priceline, every trip is a big deal. Whether you're going somewhere to cheer on your team in a big game, visiting family, reuniting with old friends, or just getting away for the weekend, traveling can be a rewarding experience. You don't even have to go far to give yourself a well-deserved vacation. I know travel is something we've all been missing lately, but when you're ready for your next trip, you should definitely check out Priceline. Priceline can save you up to 60% off your favorite hotels. They also have exclusive deals on flights and rental cars. It's super helpful to be able to plan all of your travel needs in one place, but getting a great deal on a flight, rental car, or hotel makes the whole process convenient and stress-free. Now is an important time to save, and you can get huge savings on travel when you book with Priceline. When you're ready to travel and you're ready for a great deal, book your trip with Priceline. You're the hiring expert for your company, and what you really need is help making your short list of quality candidates. You need a hiring partner who helps make your life easier. You need Indeed. Indeed is the job site that makes hiring as easy as 1, 2, 3. Post, screen, and interview, all on Indeed. Get your quality short list of candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description faster. Only pay for the candidates that meet must-have qualifications, and schedule and complete video interviews in your Indeed dashboard. Indeed makes connecting with and hiring the right talent fast and easy. With tools like Indeed Instant Match, giving you quality candidates whose resume on Indeed fits your job description immediately, and Indeed skills tests that on average reduces hiring time by 27%. You can choose from more than 130 skills tests or add your own, then add your must-have requirements so you only pay for applications that meet them. According to Talent Nest, Indeed delivers 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined. If you're hiring, you need Indeed. Get started right now with a free $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/cadence. Get a $75 credit at Indeed.com/cadence. Indeed.com/cadence. Offer valid through June 30th. Terms and conditions apply.
There are plenty of things you can do to improve your sleep, like staying hydrated, regulating bedroom temperature, and limiting caffeine and alcohol. Combine those with a Sleep Number 360 smart bed and it's sleep perfection. Why choose Sleep Number? Because a good night's rest helps boost your immunity, improve recovery, and increase energy. Experience proven quality sleep and save $1,000 on the new Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed during the Memorial Day sale. Only at Sleep Number stores or sleepnumber.com/cadence.
You know, we got the Cowboys in action, and after snapping a 4-game losing streak, Jerry Jones seems to be feeling pretty good about his team. When gushing about rookie receiver CeeDee Lamb, Jerry told a local Dallas radio show, quote, "I don't know that I've seen anybody since Deion Sanders that has that type of sheer step-to-step explosion." So, Shannon, is there any validity to this comparison?
No. This is crazy, Skip. This is ridiculous. See, Jerry can't just give a compliment. He go to the umpteenth degree. Does he realize, Skip, here's the thing. This is what I've learned in my years of playing and when I talk to people about certain players. If they don't play offense, because, Skip, you don't see rushing yards, you see rushing yards, you see pass catching, you see yards, you see touchdowns. You don't realize how good a person is. But you cover time. I was in the league. He came in a year before me.
Yep.
I understand what this man represents. You're talking about one of the five or six greatest players to ever play. Arguably the greatest two-way athlete. Okay, you go him and Bo, but I believe he was a better in football than Bo was. You want to go back to Jim Thorpe? Okay, fine. But in the Super Bowl era, ain't nobody could hold account to that guy, Skip. This guy could run, but when he left the league, he could still outrun CeeDee Lamb. People don't realize how good they don't realize how good Deion was, Skip. They really don't.
Well, I hope they do.
No, they don't. They don't. They don't do it.
Clearly, easily the best corner who ever played.
Skip, Don Beebe ran 4.3, and he broke a kick return. They used to have time on the kickoff coverage as a safety. Somebody break
At Atlanta.
At Atlanta.
Yes.
Don Beebe, go Google it. Don Beebe ran 4.3 on the kickoff and was gone. And watch Deion how he tracks him down, taps him on his shoulder, and say, pull over. It's not even close. Can we go? Let's start with Dez. Guys that wore that. Let's start with Dez. I don't think we realize how good Dez skipped. Remember, in 2014, we was having a conversation. Dez, the best receiver in football. Let's go to Michael Irvin. Let's leave Prime. Let's leave time alone. We're gonna leave that one by himself. We're gonna start baby steps. Let's get to Dez level. Let's get to Michael Irvin. Because he ain't gonna never be explosive. Time ran 4.2. Pulled his track. He went to the combine. He wasn't even gonna run.
It was legendary.
They're like, "Are you gonna?" Okay,
True story.
Yes, he took his sweats off.
Tracksuit off, and he's like, "I don't want to." No, they said you.
No warm up. No warm up.
Stretch. Didn't do anything.
It ran 4.29.
And put his tracksuit back on and left. Okay, that's him.
That's time.
That's my man Deion. I did cover Deion. And I'll never forget what Barry Switzer told me after his first practice as the head coach of Deion Sanders. He said, it's like he's not governed by the same gravity the rest of us are.
He's not.
It's like he can move in ways like he's on the moon and we're all not. We're still on Earth, right?
Yes.
He did run, whatever, 4.29, and he could still run it in his last year. It felt like maybe 4.4. But the point is, it's like when Michael Vick was in Atlanta, it was called the Michael Vick experience.
Right.
Deion was the Deion Sanders experience in Atlanta.
Yes.
When he was returning punts and doing this,
yes,
right?
And kickoffs.
There's never been anything like it.
No.
Okay, so Jerry stepped over the line and he stepped out of bounds. But I get where he's going because he's not trying to compare CeeDee to Michael Irvin or Jerry Rice, whatever,
Right.
Dez, any receiver. He's talking more about punt returns. He's talking about power returns where he's talking about sheer step-to-step explosion. CeeDee Lamb goes 6'2", 198. Kind of Deion-esque and about the same. Deion's probably 6'1"-ish, maybe 200, right?
Maybe 200.
Okay, maybe right in that same ballpark.
Yeah.
But he's talking about the power CeeDee generates with his first step. He led all of college football a year ago in yards per catch at 21.4. And about half of those 21 yards per catch were yak yards because they couldn't get him on the ground. So he's saying in punt returns, Jerry says he's going to break one pretty soon. He said, I'm willing to, he basically said, I'm willing to predict it. And I think it's a pretty good bet he's going to break one because he's had a 20-yarder against the Rams in the opener, and he had a 20-yarder at Minnesota. He had a 19-yarder at Seattle. He was one shoestring tackle away from breaking that one at Minnesota on Sunday. Right. He'll break the first tackle just on sheer raw power. You call it desire, whatever it is. But he's talking about first step explosion and being able to hit your full speed immediately. That's what he's comparing him to Deion. Obviously, CeeDee timed 4.5. Well, he's like 3 seconds slower, 0.3 of a second slower than
Skip. When it comes to punt return, Skip, the greatest punt return of he ain't even Devin Hester. Well, he don't have that kind of explosion.
Well, I mean, Devin Hester.
Yes.
All time.
Cordell Patterson. Skip, we gonna
He's
talk about.
coming. He'll be Cordell Patterson.
You think so?
I do.
Joshua Cribbs. Some of the great returners. Can we start with those?
I'm talking about a rookie who's starting to have a huge impact because he's a very special receiver.
Well, eventually, Skip, he's going to grow out of that. He's going to be too valuable for you to put him back there.
I'm actually still a little surprised he's back there now.
Yeah, because you're asking for trouble. Trouble that you don't even have to create, but you're asking for it by putting him back there. Now, I see in situations, Skip, we need a big return because Deshaun Jackson. Skip, remember, Deshaun used to return punts, and he was tremendous. Now, you talk about explosive.
Remember the one at Giants?
Yes.
Remember what Tom Coughlin did after the game? God.
But he morphed out of it because he became too valuable as a receiver to put him back there. Now, if we needed a big return, okay.
Well, ironically, Deshaun got hurt this year trying to return a punt.
Right.
Remember that?
Tyreek Hill was a returner, kick and punt.
Was he asked Bob Stoops if he could return Oklahoma State against Oklahoma?
Yes, and then he morphed out of it, and I believe that's what's going to happen to him. Skip, the kid is phenomenal, and I believe he's going to be a very good receiver. But Jerry, come on, you can get a guy, you can pat the guy on the back and say, man, he's doing for a rookie, he's doing unbelievable. But to go to that kind of explosiveness, Skip, that's dynamite.
Okay, but this kid levitated in the end zone the other day. It was a poor pass. It was thrown over the wrong shoulder against a blitz, and he levitated in midair. He had to spin in midair and sort of reverse field and go snatch it.
What did Troy tell you about Deion? He said if he took a year, he could be a Pro Bowl receiver.
Well, he contributed to that Super Bowl team I covered, the '95 Cowboys. He caught some balls.
Yes.
He caught a couple balls in the Super Bowl against Pittsburgh.
Had a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah. If he dedicated to the whole year, he would have been Pro Bowl.
That's what that guy was.
Well, I've always called him, Deion, the best athlete ever because people forget he was an all-state basketball player in the state of Florida out of Fort Myers.
Yes.
And then all he did was start in center field for the Yankees and the Braves and, Cincinnati and San Francisco.
And he was on the track team at Florida State. He and Sammy Smith.
Yep.
I think Dexter Carter was also, I ran against Dexter Carter. He's from Appleton County. Skip, people don't, like I said, Skip, because there was no, you got to go back and, you can read clips. And so I wish the technology that we have today could be back then so then you could see some of the things that he actually did to get an appreciation. Because if you didn't see it with your own life, Skip, people telling you about it, it doesn't do it justice as if you actually saw it. Like, people telling you about Michael Jordan's 63-point game, but I actually saw it.
Yeah. So did I.
So you get a great appreciation.
Okay, so bottom line, Jerry's heart was in the right place on this, but his head was not engaged to his heart.
No.
Okay, I got it.
No mercy. Well, the Patriots get ready to host the Cardinals this weekend. Bill Belichick had some great praise for future Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald, but he made a comparison that definitely raised some eyebrows. Belichick told reporters that, quote, he's to receivers what Peyton Manning was to quarterbacks in terms of that type of total obsession of knowing everything about the position and how to do things and how to convey those to his teammates. Peyton was obviously Tom Brady's primary rival in New England for years, so Shannon, was this a shot at Tom Brady?
I don't believe it was a shot, but I can understand and see how people would take it and perceive it as being a shot because Coach Belichick coached Tom Brady for 20 years, and here you are heaping the utmost praise and adulation on someone that you really never coached, but you coached against. Skip, I think for me is that you said you would like to give somebody some truth serum and put them in the hot seat or a lie detector test. If you were to ask Coach Belichick deep down, I believe he believes Peyton Manning is a better quarterback than Tom Brady.
I think that's obvious right here.
I believe he does. Because, Skip, he spent 17 seasons knowing that if I can't beat this guy, I can't get to my ultimate destination, AFC Championship game, or if it's in the AFC Championship game, if I can't beat him, I can't get to the Super Bowl. And this is what all you need to know, what Coach Belichick thinks about Peyton Manning. Mm-hmm. He had the ball 4th and 2 on his own 28-yard line with a lead. Instead of punting the football, he went for it. That's the equivalent of Buck Showalter walking Barry Bonds with the bases loaded.
I wouldn't go that far.
Skip.
Come on.
Pitch to him.
Well, he tried to win the game.
Belichick tried to win the game. He didn't want Peyton to get the ball because he knew what Peyton could do. He ever did that?
I liked it. I said the next day, I liked him going for it.
They ever did that with Tom Brady? Anybody ever went for it on 4th and 2 on their own 29-yard line against Tom Brady? Yeah, a simple yes or a simple no. No. I answered for you, no. Skip, I think the thing is that, and it's hard to say right now, that Tom wouldn't do what Peyton's doing because Peyton will reach out and talk to other quarterbacks. And I think it's a little hard for Tom to do that now while he's currently playing. That's not the